बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। पेज नंबर 104 जारी है। स्टेंजा नंबर 14। With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grill, without any doubting or quiddit, he started sousing as he tackled the thing that could not be done, and he did it. तर्जुमा, अपनी थोड़ी को उठाते हुए थोड़ी सी हंसी के साथ बगैर किसी शक और शुबा के उसने गाना शुरू कर दिया। जब उसने काम शुरू किया जो ना हो सकता था और उसने वो अंजाम दिया। रेफरेंस टू द कॉन्टेक्स्ट, these lines have been taken from the poem It Could Not Be It, written by Edward Guest. In this poem, the poet describes the common attitude toward difficult tasks. People say that it cannot be done, but if a man takes courage and starts working, he finds himself doing it. Explanations. In this stanza, the poet tells about the man of courage who believed in themselves. They started the work with smile and pride. They did not have any doubt in their mind. They started doing the work which was considered difficult and impossible and did it. Paraphrase. This stanza is about those people who have faith in themselves and achieve the impossible with pride and smile. Page number 105. They have no doubt in mind. They start doing the work what was declared as impossible and had done it. Stanza number 15. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one the dangers that wall to assail you. तर्जुमा, हज़ारों लोग हैं जो तुम्हें बताएंगे कि ये नहीं हो सकता। हज़ारों लोग नाकामी की पेशनगोई करेंगे। हज़ारों लोग ऐसे हैं जो एक करके तुमको उनके ख़तरात के बारे में बतलाएंगे जो तुम्हें पेश आने वाले हैं। Reference to the context, these lines have been taken from the poem It Could Not Do It, written by Edward Guest. In this poem, the poet tells us about general attitude of the people about the difficult task. They say that it cannot be done. It is dangerous to do, but when a man takes courage and starts the work, he succeeds to do it. Explanations. In this stanza, the poet tells us that there are thousands of people who tell you that this work is difficult, you cannot do it. Thousands of people will profile failure. Thousands of people will tell you about the danger that you face doing it one by one. Paraphrase. The people would try to dissuade you from doing something difficult. Thousands of people would tell you that you will fail in your attempt. Thousands of people would warn you of the danger. Page number 106, stanza number 16. But just buckle right in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you will do it. तर्जुमा, मुस्कुराहट के साथ तैयार हो जाओ, अपना कोट उतारो और काम पर जाओ। यूं ही काम शुरू करो, गाना भी शुरू करो। जो किया ना जा सकता हो तुम उसको कर पाओगे। Reference to the context, these lines have been taken from the poem I Could Not Do It, written by Edward Gust. In this poem, the poet describes a very common attitude toward difficult tasks, that is, I cannot be done. But when the task is done, everybody declares it to be easy. Do not create doubts in your mind. Meet each problem as it arises. Keep it with you the assurance that it can be done. Explanations. In this stanza, the poet advises not to follow such people who are afraid of difficult tasks and tell you that it cannot be done. Be ready with a smile, take off your coat and do the work with a song. You would do the work which other people said that you could not do it. Paraphrase. In this stanza, the poet advises him not to listen to such people. Be ready with the smiles and tackle the task while singing, and you will do it which other people said you want. Page number 107, poem number 5, The Schoolboy. Stanza number 17. I love to rise in a summer morn, when the birds sing on every tree, the distant huntsman wind is born, and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company. तर्जुमा. मैं मौसम गर्मा में सुबह को उठना पसंद करता हूँ, जब हर दरख्त पर चिड़ियाँ चहचहाती हैं, शिकारी अपने सींगों को हरकत देता है और चकोर मेरे साथ गाता है, अरे क्या अच्छा साथ है. Reference to the context. These lines have been taken from the poem The Schoolboy, written by William Blake. In this poem, the poet tells us that a schoolboy enjoys to do in the morning in summer, but when he goes to school, all the joy and gone. He is like a bird in cage. He appeals to his parents that he should be allowed to enjoy his youth. Explanation. In this stanza, the poet tells us that he likes to rise in the morning of summer, when he birds sing on every tree. The huntsman move his barn, the skylark sing with him. It is a pleasant company. Summer is the most pleasant season in England. Paraphrase. The poet likes to do in the summer morning when the birds sing on every tree. The skylark also sings with him. It is a pleasant company. Page number 108, stanza number 18. But to go school in the summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in singing and dismay. तर्जुमा. मगर गर्मियों की सुबह के वक्त स्कूल जाना तमाम खुशियाँ गारत कर देता है. एक जालिम आँख के तहत छोटा बच्चा अपना दिन आहें भरने और दुख में गुजारता है. Reference to the context. These lines have been taken from the poem The Schoolboy, written by William Blake. In this poem, the poet tells us that a schoolboy enjoys to do in the morning in summer, but when he goes to school, all his joy is gone. He passes the day in distress in school. He appeals his parents that he should be allowed to enjoy his youth. Explanations. The poet says that when a boy goes to school in the morning in summer, all his joy is gone. He is free under the supervision of a cruel eye. He passes his day in school with sing and distress. Paraphrase. When a boy goes to school in the morning in summer, all his joy is spoiled. He spent his day in school in distress and grief. Stanza number 9. Ah, then at times I dropping sit and spend many an anxious hours, nor in my book can I lake delight, nor sit learning's bower, warm thoughts with the dreary shower. पेज नंबर 109. तर्जुमा. तब अक्सर औकात में थका हुआ बैठा होता हूँ और बहुत सा वक्त परेशानी में गुजारता हूँ. नहीं, अपनी किताब में दिलचस्पी नहीं ले सकता और ना ही तालीमी माहौल में बैठ सकता हूँ और गमज़दा नावल से अकताया हुआ होता हूँ. Reference to the context. These lines have been taken from the poem The Schoolboy, written by William Blake. In this poem, the poet describes the conditions of the schoolboy. He enjoys in the morning in summer, but when he goes to school, his joy spoils. He is like a bird in cage. He passes the day in distress. He appeals to his parents that he should be allowed to enjoy his youth. Explanation. In this stanza, the poet tells us that when a boy goes to school, he is distressed. He remains sitting exhausted all the times in school. His anxious time in past. He cannot take delight in book. He can neither in learning mood. He is tried with the depressing shower. Paraphrase. The poet says that the schoolboy is sad in school. He laments that his precious hours are spoiled. He taken no interest in books or learning. He is tired of depressing situations. Stanza number 20. Lo can be bird that is born for joy, sit in a cage and sing. How can a child when fear any when fear an eye? Page number 110. But droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring. तर्जुमा परिंदा जो खुशी के लिए पैदा हुआ है कैसे एक पिंजरा के अंदर रह सकता है और गा सकता है। कैसे एक बच्चा जब वो मुश्किलात से डरता है, जब वो उसके नाजुक पर मरझाए जाते हैं और अपनी जवानी के मौसम बहार को भूल जाता है। Reference to the context. These lines have been taken from the poem The Schoolboy written by William Blake. In this poem, the poet tells us that a schoolboy enjoys to do in the morning in summer, but when he goes to school, all his joy is gone. He passes the day in distress. He appeals his parents that he should be allowed to enjoy his youth. Explanations. The poet says that a bird who is born for joy can sit in a cage and sing. Similarly, a child who is afraid of trouble can droop his poor wing and forget his youthful spring. He is like a caged bird who is not allowed to enjoy freedom. Paraphrase. The poet says that the boy is just like a caged bird. He is not allowed to enjoy freedom and he is deprived of enjoying his youthful spring.
Dear students, this audio recording has been done for you by Humanitarian Development Organization, Abbottabad. HDO is striving hard to bring positive change in sectors of health, education, and livelihood since 2011, non-funded and purely on self-help basis. Organization has not only converted the textbooks of KPK into audio form, but also of the whole country, from FA to master's level, including courses of Allama Iqbal Open University. The core objective of this educational campaign is to enable visually challenged students to continue their studies up to the higher levels and play their positive role in the prosperity of their nation and country. These all recordings are being provided totally free of cost to visually challenged students. Other students rather than visually challenged students can also get benefit of this educational convenience. Humanitarian Development Organization, Abbottabad. Email hdoatd@gmail.com. Website hdorg.net. Contact 0345 9541 838.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Page number 110 jari. Stanza number 21. O father and mother, his buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and the underplants are stripped by their giant in the spring day, by sorrow or care day. तर्जुमा. उफ, बाप और माँ, गंजों को काट दिया जाए और फूल तोड़ दिए जाएं, और अगर नाजुक पौधों की पत्तियां तोड़ दी जाएं और उनको मौसम बहार में खुशियों से महरूम कर दिया जाए और उनको गम दे दिया जाए. Reference to the context. These lines have been taken from the poem, page number 111. The Schoolboy is written by William Blake. In this poem, the poet tells us that schoolboy enjoyed to do in the morning summer, but when he goes to school, all his joy is gone. He passes time in distress. He appeals his parents that he should be allowed to enjoy spring. Explanation: in these lines, the boy asks his parents several questions. He asks if the buds are cut, if flowers are broken, if the leaves of tender plants are removed, if they are deprived of their joy in spring and got grief and sorrow, what would be the result? Paraphrase: in this stanza, a boy asks his parents if buds are cut, if flowers broken, and tender plants are stripped the joy of spring and they are given grief, what would be the result? Stanza number 22. How shall be How shall we rumble arise and joy, or the summer fruit appear? Or how shall we gather what grief destroy, or bliss the mellowing year when the blast of winter appear? तर्जुमा: गर्मियाँ किस तरह खुशी से भरेंगी, या गर्मियों के फल पूरा होंगे, या हम वो किस तरह हासिल कर सकेंगे जो रंज व गम ने ज़ाय कर दिया है, या पकते साल को कैसे खुश करेंगे जबकि सर्दियों के हवा के तेज झोंके आ रहे हैं. Page number 112. Reference to the context. These lines have been taken from the poem The Schoolboy, written by William Black. In this poem, the poet tells us about a schoolboy he enjoyed to do in the morning in summer, but when he goes to school, all his joy is gone. He passes time in distress. He appeals his parents that he should be allowed to enjoy spring. Explanation: in these lines, the boy says to his parents, how shall the summer will arise in joy? How summer fruits will appear? How can we get those things which have been destroyed by grief? How can we bless the ripening year when there is gust of wind in winter? Paraphrase: how shall summer arise in joy? How will summer fruit appear? How shall we get the lost joy? How can we bless the ripening year when the gust of wind of winter has appeared? Poem number 6. Once upon a time. Stanza number 23. Once upon a time, son, they used laugh with their hearts and laugh with their eyes, but now they only laugh with their teeth. While their eyes block cold eyes, search behind my shadow. तर्जुमा: बेटे, एक दफ़ा का जिक्र है, वो लोग बड़ी खुश दिली के साथ हंसा करते थे और अपनी आंखों से हंसते थे, लेकिन अब वो सिर्फ अपने दांतों से हंसते थे, जबकि इनकी सर्द मोरी बनी आंखें मेरे साया के पीछे किसी चीज़ को तलाश करती हैं. Page number 113. Reference to the context. These lines have been taken from the poem Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel Okara. The poet describes the attitudes of the poem in the past of the attitudes of the people in the present time. He throws light on the change of behavior of the people. Explanations. In this stanza, the poet is addressing his son and in general all the human beings. He is making a comparison about what were the attitude of the people in the past and how the attitudes have changed now. In the past, people used to laugh with their hearts. They expressed their feelings in natural way. Now people laugh just to show off, and when they meet people, they meet coldly. In the past, their eyes showed that they are happy, but now the eyes show coldness. There is no glimpse of joy in them. Paraphrase: the father tells his son that in the past the people laughed with their heart, their eyes showed joy. Now the people laugh only for show. Their eyes show coldness. The love to each other is gone from the life of the people. Stanza number 24. There was a time, indeed, They used to shake hands with their hearts, but that's gone, son. Now they shake hands without hearts, while their left hands search my empty pockets. पेज नंबर 124। तर्जुमा, यकीनन पहले एक वक्त ऐसा भी था जब वो दिल से हाथ मिलाते थे, लेकिन बेटे अब वो वक्त चला गया है। अब वो बहुत बेदिली से हाथ मिलाते हैं, जबकि उनके बाएं बाजू मेरी खाली जेबों की तलाशी लेते हैं। रेफरेंस टू द कॉन्टेक्स्ट, these lines have been taken from the poem Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel Okara. The poet describes the attitudes of the people in the past and the present time. In the past, the people laughed with heart, but now they laugh coldly. There is a change in the attitude of the people. Explanations. The poet says that in the past, people used to meet and shake hands enthusiastically as if they were happy to meet you, but now they shake hands just as a custom and formality. They meet you to know and share your finance. The people have become selfish and materialist. There is no spirit of love in people these days. Paraphrase. Father tells his son that people do not shake hands with their hearts. They only perform formality. They have become selfish and materialist. They are interested in the finance only. Stanza number 25. Feel at home, come again. They say, and when I come again and feel at home once, twice, there will be no thrice. For then I find doors shut on me. पेज नंबर 115। तर्जुमा, अपना ही घर समझिए, दोबारा भी तशरीफ़ लाइए। वो ऐसा कहते हैं जब मैं आता हूँ दोबारा, और फिर महसूस करता हूँ अपने घर की तरह। एक दफ़ा, दो दफ़ा, फिर तीसरी बार नहीं, क्योंकि फिर मुझे अपने लिए दरवाजे बंद मिलते हैं। रेफरेंस टू द कॉन्टेक्स्ट, these lines have been taken from the poem Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel Okara. The poet describes the change in the attitudes of the people. They meet the other people not for love but for his finance. The people have become materialistics. Explanations. In this stanza, the poet is describing the nature of the people. The morality and social values are decreasing day by day. Now the people welcome you once or twice only, but if you repeat your visit the third time, they would refuse to see you. They would shut their doors for you. There is no love in the heart of the people. Paraphrase. The poet says that if you go to meet some friend or relative once or twice, you are welcomed, but if you visit the third time, he closed his door. Stanza number 26. So I have learned many things, son. I have learned to wear many faces, light dresses, home face, office face, street face, asked face, with all their confirming smiles, like a fixed portrait smile. पेज नंबर 116। तर्जुमा, इसलिए मेरे बेटे मैंने बहुत सी बातें सीख ली हैं। मैंने लिबास की तरह चेहरे बदलने सीख लिए हैं। घर का चेहरा, दफ्तरी चेहरा, कूचे वाला चेहरा, मेज़बान का चेहरा, इनकी एक जैसी मुस्कुराहट जैसे किसी नस्बशुदा तस्वीर की मुस्कुराहट हो। Reference to the context, these lines have been taken from the poem Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel Okara. The poet describes the change in the attitudes of the people. They meet the other people not for love but for show. They have an eye on the finance of the people. Explanations. In this stanza, the poet is describing what experience has taught him. He has learned to change his facial expressions at different places and occasions. He has one face at home and the other in office, and the third in the street, and fourth as a host. His smiles too have no reality and purity. His smiles are just as those of portraits. Paraphrase. The poet says that he had learnt many things. He has learned to change his facial expressions and bad habits of smiling. He has learnt hypocrisy. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Page number 116 जारी है. Stanza number 27. And I have learned to laugh only with my teeth and shake hands without my heart. I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance, to say glad to meet you without being glad, and to say it's been nice talking to you after being bored. पेज नंबर 117. तर्जुमा. और मैंने ये भी सीख लिया कि सिर्फ दांतों से हंसो और दिल के बगैर हाथ मिलाओ. और मैंने खुदा हाफिज कहना भी सीख लिया है. जब मेरा मतलब अच्छी खलासी है ये कहना कि तुम्हें मिलकर बहुत खुशी हुई, दर हकीकत खुश हुए बगैर, और ये कहना कि आपसे बड़ी अच्छी गुफ्तगू रही बोरियत के बाद. Reference to the context. These lines have been taken from the poem Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel Okara. In this poem, the poet describes the change in the attitudes of the people. They meet the other people not for love but for show. They have an eye on the finance of the people. Explanations. The poet says that he has learnt many things. He has learnt to laugh surfacely. He has learnt to shake hands without art. He has learned to say goodbye when he means deliverance. He has learned to say that he is glad to meet him when he is not so. He has learned to say that he had a nice talk, thought it bored him. In short, he has learned to speak the visual sentence when he does not mean them. Paraphrase. The poet says that he had burnt the art of laughing without art, the art of shaking with hands without sincerity, to say goodbye when it is good deliverance, to say that it was a good talk when it was bore. Stanza number 28. But believe me, son, I want to be what I used to be when I was like you. Page number 118. I want to unlearn all these mutting things. Most of all, I want to relearn how to laugh, for my laugh in the mirror shows only my teeth like a snake's bare fangs. तर्जुमा. लेकिन बेटे यकीन करो मैं वो बनना चाहता हूँ जो मैं था जब मैं तुम्हारे जैसा था. मैं ये सब अहमकाना बातें भुला देना चाहता हूँ. इनमें से अक्सर बातें मैं दोबारा सीखना चाहता हूँ. कैसे हंसूं, क्योंकि शीशे में मेरी हंसी मुझे सांप के जहरीले दांतों की तरह मेरे दांत दिखाती है. Reference to the context. These lines have been taken from the poem Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel Okara. In this poem, the poet describes the change in the attitudes of the people. They meet the other people not for love but for show. They have an eye on the pocket of other people. Explanations. The poet says that the does not like the bad habits prevalent in the society. He thinks that these habits are not good and praiseworthy. He has learned these bad habits under pressure of the society. There is no sincerity in them. He wants to relearn all those qualities which he had learned in his youth. When he sees his smile in mirror, he laughs. It has he just sees his teeth like a snake's fangs. Paraphrase. The poet says that he wants to unlearn the things that he has learned from the people of his time. He wants to relearn the things which he had learnt in his youth. He does not like to laugh as his teeth look like a snake's fangs. Page number 119, stanza number 29. So show me, son, how to laugh, show me how I used to laugh and smile once upon a time when I was like you. तर्जुमा. इसलिए बेटे मुझे दिखाओ कि मैं कैसे हंसूं। मैं हंसा और मुस्कुराया करता था। एक दफ़ा का जिक्र है जब मैं तुम्हारी तरह था। Reference to the context. These lines have been taken from the poem Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel O'Cara. In this poem, poet describes the change in the attitudes of the people. They meet the other people not for love but only for show. They have an eye on the pocket of the people. Explanation. The poet is fed up with the hypocrisy of the people. There is no reality in the attitudes of the people. He asked his son to show him how to laugh with art, to show him how he used to laugh when he was young and of his age, when there was no hypocrisy in the attitudes of the people. The poet wishes to get pure smile and love. Paraphrase. The poet asks his son to tell him to laugh as he used to laugh at the age when he was as old as his son. He is tired of the insincerity of the society. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Page number 120. Section C. Marks 30. Attempt any 3 questions. Each question carries 10 marks. Question number 3. Essay. Question number 4. Direct and indirect. Pair of words. Question number 5. Summary of the lesson of prose. Question number 6. Character or questions from novel. Page number 121. Chapter number 4. Essay writing. मजमून बहुत से फ़िक्रों का एक ऐसा मजमूआ है जिसका तल्लुक़ एक ही उन्वान से होता है। मजमून में जुमलों और ख़यालात में रब्त होना चाहिए और एक ही उन्वान से मुतल्लिक़ हों। अदयात। मजमून बहुत ज़्यादा लंबा ना हो। मजमून के ख़यालात में हम आंगी हो। गैर मुतल्लिक़ा चीज़ें शामिल न करें। अंदाज़ बयां सादा और शगुफ्ता हो। मजमून की इब्तदा इंतहाई पूरी तवज्जो से करनी चाहिए। नंबर 1. अ क्रिकेट मैच. Banu Board 1994. Number 1. An interesting match. We spent last Sunday in the Peshawar Stadium watching a very interesting one-day cricket match. It was played between the teams of local Islamia College and the Government College. Both the teams were quite strong and the match was very interesting. Number 2. Start of the match. The match started at 9 a.m. but the spectator had reached the playground early in the morning. We were astonished to see such a huge crowd. The captains of the team arrived in the ground only 10 minutes before the fixed time. They inspected the pitch and then the players of both the teams were introduced to the umpires. Page number 122. Number 3. Islamia College team started batting. The game started exactly at 9 a.m. The Government College team had to field while the Islamic College team was batting. The game became thrilling from the very start. The first wicket fell after 2 overs and Rashid was out for only 7 runs. Now Jamshed and Tariq started to play. They played very carefully and increased the score slowly but steadily. As last at about 10:30 a.m. Tariq was about and Azhar took his place. The game became still more interesting when Azhar is 2-4. People clapped their hands with joy and the students of the two colleges encouraged their players by raising interesting Salgan. The Islamia College team scored 150 runs for 5 wickets in 20 overs. Number 4. Government College went to bat. After the lunch, Government College team went to bat. Ahmed and Mahmood played steadily and scored 50 runs. The Ahmed was out and Afzal took his place. Whole team was out for 148 runs. Number 5. Islamia College won the match. The Islamia College team scored 150 runs while the Government College team scored only 148. Thus Islamia College won the match by a very narrow margin. The match was very interesting and everybody praised the players. Essay number 2. My favorite writer or poet. Number 1. Allama Iqbal. NWFP 2001. I am very fond of reading. I have studied many others. Among them, I like Allama Muhammad Iqbal most. Page number 123. He has written in Urdu as well as in Persian. He has written so many books. Number 2 is Urdu Ghazals. Allama Iqbal has written many Urdu ghazals. He expresses his ideas on beauty and love. He likes the beauty of good things. He likes love because it makes us very active and give high thoughts. He likes the struggle that a person in love has to make. He wants things and persons to grow perfection. Allama Iqbal has written some poems about the surroundings of Sialkot. These are very beautiful. He liked what he had seen in nature. He looked at Him- Himalayas from a distance. He has given his feeling about it in a poem. Number 3. Poem in Persian. Allama Iqbal has written many poems in Persian. They are full of philosophy. He has given his ideas about religion and society. These poems show it that Allama Iqbal is a great poet as well as a great philosopher. His books Israr-e-Khudi, Peyam-e-Mashraq and Javed-Nama, etc. are in Persian. Number 4. Writes in a beautiful way. Iqbal has written his poem in a beautiful way. He uses very popular words. Some words are not doubt difficult, but they are very meaningful. His verses are musical. Number 5. Love our nation. Iqbal makes us love our nation. He makes us kind and true to others. He tells us that we are Muslims and so we should be great. Iqbal has written poems for the children, young and adults. These poems have a special message. Page number 124. Urdu poems of Iqbal. Iqbal's Urdu poems can be found in 3 books. These are Bange Dara, Bale Jibril and Zarbe Kalim. I feel pleasure when I see or read them. I also learn much about life, human beings, nature, good while reading them. I feel love for my country and all the world which God has created. Number 7. Shikwa and Jawab Shikwa. I like 2 poems very much. These are Shikwa and Jawab Shikwa. Iqbal has expressed his religious feeling and ideas in these poems. We find after reading them that Iqbal wants us to become a true Muslim. He does not like us to be a bad Muslim. The poem of Allama Iqbal have a message, the content of philosophy. Only a few writers can stand with him. He was not only poet but also a philosopher. He is our greatest national poet. He died in 1938. Number 3. Essay number 3. The Unity of Muslim Countries. Abbottabad Board 1995. The Muslim countries are faced with so many problems. They are surrounded with enemies. They should unite to become strong and face the challenge. Number 1. Israel. In the Middle East, Israel is an enemy not only of the Arabs but the Muslims as a whole. If all the Arab countries unite, they can face the danger of Israel properly. In 1967, Israel attacked Syria, Jordan, and Egypt and occupied their territories. It has not vacated that the territory of Syria and Jordan as yet. In 1982, Israel attacked, page number 125, Lebanon. Lebanon and killed thousands of Muslims. Now Israel is not taking her force out of Lebanon. Number 2. Attitude of Western countries. Western countries support Israel and provide arms and ammunition. Ammunitions. It has become a big military power. No single Arab countries can face Israel. If all the Arab countries unite and take action against Israel, they and they can succeed. The unity of the Muslims is the call of the day. The Arabs should try to unite with other Muslim countries of the world. Number 3, Indian attitudes. In West Asia, Pakistan has a dispute with India. In 1965, India attacked Pakistan and war went on for 17 days. Then in 1971, India attacked Pakistan. As a result, East Pakistan was separated. The Muslim countries support Pakistan. Now India is preparing ourselves against Pakistan. Number 4, way of bringing unity. A. Pacts. There are different ways of bringing unity between Muslim countries. They can have pacts with one another. These pacts can take the shape of RCD, a pact between Iran, Turkey and Pakistan. All Muslim countries can have one war pact. If one Muslim country is attacked, other Muslim countries should fight on her side. B. One central government. It is also proposed that all the Muslim countries should have a central government and become provinces of one Muslim state. But there is no problem here. Some Muslim countries are far away from one another, and page number 126, they cannot exist under one central government such as UAR and Indonesia. See Islamic Summit. The Muslims of the world have realized the importance of unity. Islamic Summit has been set up with its Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Page number 126 जारी है. Essay number 4, the most unforgettable incident of my life. Peshawar Board, 1995. Number 1, a thief in my house. My wife said, Bukhari, there is thief in my adjoining room. I stood up and saw towards the room. My wife advised me not to raise who and cry. I acted upon her advice. I kept silent. I took courage and decided to do something. The wind was blowing outside. It was making the scene horrible. The room in which the thief was doing something was locked. His death has brought him in my house. I was puzzled to think how the thief entered the room. My intelligence remarked, thieves are clever. Page number 127. Number 2, I called my neighbors. I thought, what should I do to bring the thief out? An idea came to my mind. The thief are strong men. They are armed. I should take the help of my neighbors. A friend in need is a friend indeed, and so is a neighbor. I decided to call my neighbors for help. I told his to my wife. I asked her not to let the thief escape in my absence. I went out. I knocked out at the doors of my neighbors. I brought 4 neighbors with me. All were armed. Number 3, beside the room. Beside the room, we began to talk loudly so that the thief might not think that I was alone. My wife was cursing the thief. A scratching sound was heard in the room. There was a pin drop silence. I said, he is trying to escape from the window. We waited and waited. The thief did not come out. How could he do so? The room was locked. It looked us over, but of no use. Number 4, unlock the door. Now was Now we decided to unlock the door. The door was unlocked, yet the thief did not come out. We should get in. We thought. We were afraid and thinking that the thief would attack the first man. At last I made a plan. I shouted, "Be ready," and kill the rascal as he comes out. Saying this, I opened the door. We held our breath. The thief dashed through us. Our lathis struck the ground. The thief has passed through us. He was unhurt. We were astonished to see it was a grey cat. We all began to laugh. This was the most unforgettable incident of my life. Page number 128. Village Life. Abbottabad Board 2015. Swat Board 1993. Number 1. Pakistani village is very interesting. Life in the Pakistani village is very interesting as compared to the noise in towns. There is little activity in our village. The first thing that strikes a visitor to a village is the crowd of houses. Most of them are mud built. There is no metalled roads in our village. Ordinary lines serve as roads. Village paths are usually full of dust. The most important center of interest in a village is the village well. Usually the women folk of the village carry water in the pitchers. They sit beside the well and talk for hours together. There are also some shops in every village. In many cases, these shops are quite lively. All the day long, the idlers of the village keep sitting there, catching, laughing, and smoking. Usually, there is a small primary school in every village. It is only one teacher. Number 2. The village leads simple and hard lives. Our village leads a simple and hard lives. They are honest, innocent, and homely. They dress themselves in simple clothes. Their women too wear coarse and rough clothes. Number 3. Agriculture. The main profession in our village in agriculture. Our farmers get up early in the morning and go to work in their fields. Every farmer plows his land till about 1 o'clock at noon, when his wife brings for him his lunch. After taking his simple food, the village farmer lies down under the shade of a tree and takes some rest. After a short while, he gets up again, works till sunset. Our villagers are known for their hospitality towards visitors and strangers. Number 4. Disputes of the villagers. Usually our villagers live in a friendly way. Their disputes are mostly about women and land. It is very amusing to watch a village quarrel. He can quarrel about anything. He quarrels about their rights to water his field and his rights to check other people's animals from entering his barns. Number 5. Customs. Village customs are very simple. Our villagers are very particular about their ceremonies regarding marriage and death. Number 6. Need improvement. Our village needs a lot of improvement. Look from the scenery point of view. Our village are very dirty. Heaps of dungs and rubbish are seen everywhere. The whole life in a Pakistani village is not a dull affair. There are a few facilities of life and still favor recreation. Indeed, we will have to work a lot to make life in our village worth living. Page number 130. Essay number 6. Traveling as a part of education. Peshawar Board 1972 and 1980. Traveling in olden days. Traveling has always been regarded as a part of young one's education. In olden days, it was traditions in Europe that after completing their academic career, young men of high families were sent abroad to get training in practical life. Number 2, first-hand knowledge. Traveling gives us first-hand knowledge which books cannot provide. Books are a mighty bloodless substitute for life, says Stevenson. But while traveling abroad, one gets accustomed to bear hardship. Number 3, lesson of self-dependence. A traveler learns the lessons of self-dependence and self-confidence. Traveling gives an excellent training for building one's character. Understanding. Traveling also brings about an understanding between different nations and links them together in close cultural relations. Our world has become one big family, and of the ease account of the easy and speed provided to us by a new means of travel. Goodwill missions of one country visit another country. In recent years, many such missions have come to Pakistan from various countries of the world, and the results are very encouraging. Number 5, test of one's strength of character. Traveling also serves as a true test for one's strength of character. Page number 131. Our love for good and dislike against the evil depend larger on public praise and blame. At, at home there is check of elders, and there out of their fears are due to social checks. We regulate our conduct in accordance with the rules of decency. These checks are absent in the foreign land where no one knows us. Thus, if we can show fellow feeling, courage, generosity, and goodness while traveling among strangers, it means that we really have a strong character. Number 6, create great travelers of the world. World great travels like Ibn Battuta, Columbus, and Sadi Shirazi have been men of great renown. They acquired knowledge about men through travels and become great discoverers, poets, and experienced men of the world. Thus, we may conclude ख़त्म करना in every land and through all ages, the importance of traveling has been realized. Therefore, our education as well as our social institutions should give due importance to this aspect of life. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Page number 131 जारी है. Essay number 7, examinations, or what I think of examinations. NWFP 2001, Swat Board 1992. Use of unfair means in examinations, cohort 2012. Students are often afraid of examinations. They are afraid for different reasons. Page number 132. Difficult. First of all, they think that examinations are very difficult. They fear that they may not be able to answer most of the questions in their examinations and might fail. But it often happens that a student in the examinations hall finds his appears to the quiet essay. Examinations are quite essay for a student who studies his books at least for some time every day. Number 2, means to test the ability. Examinations are good means to test the ability of the student. It is through the answer which he gives in his examination that we may learn about his real ability. The preparation the preparations for an examination makes him able. Number 3, two systems of examinations. There are two systems of examinations. In one system, we have annual examinations. Student take this examinations after reading the course for one full year. Student find his to be quite difficult, but it helps them in having a full understanding of their books or courses. The other examination system or the answer system is that of sessional test. There are tests in classes after every month or every second on third month. The marks that a student get in these tests are added up. There is then no need for the annual examination so much. This system is easy for students, but often they cannot have a good understanding of their whole course. Number 4, use of unfair means in examinations. The use of unfair means in examinations is quite common these days. Most students do not study their course regularly all through the years. Page number 133. When the examinations get near, some of them find that they can pass it by copying in the examination hall. Some member of the staff working in examinations halls also accept bribes and provide facilities of copying. All this should be stopped. Examinations become easy if students work and study regularly, then they will like to take examinations and tests. Essay number 8, Women Place in Our Society. NWFP 2003 and 2006, Peshawar Board 1992 and 2013, Malakand Board 2015. Number 1, Demand for equality. What is the place of women in our society is one of the important questions in every walk of life. Our women too have demand equal rights. They want equal seats in assemblies, equal numbers of posts in the government service, equal chance of freedom and movement in society, and equal rights in domestic life. Modern women shun the responsibilities of motherhood and prefer to work in school, hospitals, and offices. Thus, the Eastern concept of womanhood has been completely shattered. Number 2, human psychology. If viewed in the light of human psychology, this trend concerning the place of women in our society look rather one-sided. Members of both the sexes have their particular field of work. Women have been created with bodily special bodily frame which men do not possess. Page number 134. And therefore their duties too are considerable different from those of men. Women have been created to perform the difficult, delicate, and more important duty of bringing up children. If a woman wants the duties of a man, she is guilty of double crime. Firstly, by ignoring her jobs in the house, she is trying to escape from her duties as a mother, and secondly, by stepping into the field of man's duties, she is trying to do a job for which she is not physically fit. We have the example of Chinese women before us. In the last Sino-Japanese War, China raised a battalion of women, but soon it proved to be a foolish experiment. Number 3, Islamic conceptions. Islam presents a very clear solution of the problems in recognize the importance of both the sexes success and gives them equal rights in all fields of life. In Muslim society, a woman is as important and respectable as a man. but as Islam believes that their duties differ from each other, woman has a more important and holy duty to perform than of man. She is to work as a mother and teacher of a nation. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The paradise lies under the feet of the mother." What a noble tribute! Therefore, it is a mother that a woman may serve her nation in the best possible way. It does not mean that Islam stops women for taking part in the social, political, economic, or cultural field of life. A Muslim woman is supposed to be as well read as a Muslim young man. Islam recognizes the equality of the two sexes, but it does not recognize that the tasks of the two sexes are also alike. In the West, it is not any moral or social consideration. Page number 135. But purely an economic need that is compelling women to leave their homes and work as men. In our society, it is not so. If we want to copy the Western culture, we should be ready for the same results as the West in facing. Essay number 9. An Ideal College. Abbottabad Board 1994, are my idea of a perfect college. All colleges have some faults. I want to have a very perfect college. Here I describe this idea college. Number 1. Proper building. First of all, an idea college is one which has proper building. It has a sufficient number of rooms where students can sit and study at ease. There are all the facilities in the rooms which students need, for example, good chairs and desks. There are electric fans in all the rooms for use in summer. Number 2. The number of students. An ideal college admits only a many students as can study well. If a large number of students are admitted, more rooms for them are constructed. New teachers are employed by the college and classes are held into shifts in the morning as well as in the evening. The classes in an ideal college are not overcrowded. Number 3. Best teacher. An ideal college is one where the best teachers work. The teachers also go on improving their knowledge. Page number 136. In an ideal college, the teacher and principal are very kind to the student. They treat the student with love. They try to know about the difficulties they they may be facing in any way. Then they try to remove them. They punish the student only when they think it is necessary. Number 4. Library. The library in an ideal college has all the books which may be useful for the student. It has good reading facilities for them. Number 5. Laboratories. The laboratories in the ideal college have the latest apparatus. There the student can do all sorts of scientific experiments. Number 6. Sports. An ideal college has all the facilities for sport. The student can easily play different games in the afternoon. Number 7. Scholarships. Good students and players in an ideal college are giving scholarship. We should have ideal college all over the country.